To start our presentation today, it's so important that we acknowledge traditional lands that our university is located upon. Royal Roads University is located on the traditional lands of the Sepsum and Lekwungen ancestors and families. It's with great gratitude that we live, learn, work, and play for the past, present, and future scopes of Indigenous and non-Indigenous students, staff, and faculty come together. My name is Selena Kunar, and I'm a student engagement coordinator here at Royal Roads University. And I'm so excited to be a part of today's discussion, chatting with you about the graduate programs we have here at RIU for higher education professionals. And to do that, we have Dr. Russ Wild, who's the program head of our Master of Arts in Higher Education Administration Leadership program, as well as our suite of programs developed specifically for higher ed professionals like you. Hey, Russ, thanks for being here.
Hi.
We're going to hear a little bit more from Russ in these next few slides, but first, we want to hear a little bit more from all of you. So I recognize some names in the chat box, folks who are tuning in from around Victoria. We have folks clicking in from New West, BC. So we have a local crew today. How exciting. Oh, Lindsay from Ontario. From Lindsay, Ontario. So we are going from one side of Canada, and I think we're moving our way all the way to the other side, which is so exciting. From our registration page, we had folks joining from all around the world. So it's so exciting to see folks represented here via our chat box. We have Calgary as well, more folks tuning in from Victoria. Awesome. Keep those introductions coming in. If you'd like, just to kind of kick up some conversation, feel free to share what sector within higher education you're working in. As Russ will share in a few slides, while this program is, our suite of programs are specified for higher ed professionals, we bring together folks from a variety of different departments and division within that umbrella of higher ed. So it's always neat to know who's in the room with us, and that helps us ensure that the information we share is targeted to all of you. So while we get to know each other a little bit better through the chat box, we're going to head over to the RRU experience, tell you a little bit about our university, cruise right on over to talking about the programs themselves, cap off with some admission and application requirement information, and then of course leave time for questions and conversations as well. So we wanted to make sure we just threw in a few photos of our beautiful space here at Royal Roads University. Royal Roads University pioneered a blended learning model over 25 years ago, where we brought the best of an online learning environment and pushed it together with a best of an in-person learning experience as well. So through this slide, you can see a variety of our beautiful spaces here on campus and the engagement that happens online as well. One of our marks of difference is that we are a university for working professionals. So that means that not only are we engaging in theory and hypothetical learning, but our students are encouraged to bring challenges and opportunities they're finding in their workplace into our classrooms, so we can engage in that real world problem solving in real time. So with that, why don't I pass it right on over to Russ to start talking a little bit about our programs.
Okay, thanks very much, Selena, and welcome everybody. As Selena said, I'm Russ Wild. I'm currently the program head for the Master of Arts in Higher Education Leadership and Administration, or I guess it's Administration and Leadership, MAHEAL, and the related suite of programs. I've been at Royal Roads for just a little bit over a year now, and spent most of my career as an administrator in Canada's college system, as well as serving in a variety of faculty roles. I worked for many years as a dean at one of Canada's community colleges, and this is, from my perspective, the perfect program for those who are building careers in Canada's higher ed sector, university and college and polytechnic combined. Next slide, please. So our program consists of a number of different options. The main program is the Master of Arts in Higher Education Administration and Leadership, and that's a 2-year 33 credit program. But we've also created a number of shorter programs that build off the base of courses offered in the full master's program. So there's a graduate diploma in higher education admin and leadership, and that's essentially the first year of the full MA program. There's a graduate certificate in systems leadership, as well as a graduate certificate in business development and international education. Both of those are 7-month, 9-credit programs. We also have a relatively new, just going into our second year, offering a grad certification in strategic enrollment management. It is not 100% overlapping with courses in the MA program, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. It's an exciting program that several of our alumni actually are now engaged in. Next slide. So the overall purpose of the MA in higher ed admin and leadership is to help you as aspiring or existing administrators develop the knowledge and skills that will enable you to function as an effective leader in today's and tomorrow's complex post-secondary educational environments. And I think it's important to emphasize at this point that there are a lot of different master's degrees available for people in the educational world to take part in. This, in my view, is the best program for people who are focused on building careers in administration, leadership, and management in the post-secondary education world, while other MA and MEd programs focus a little more on pedagogy, teaching and learning, those kinds of things, which are all incredibly important. If your primary focus is more on the administrative side of higher ed, this is the place to be. Next slide. So just a few of the issues that we look at in this program, and this is where you'll see we're really focused on the idea of leadership in higher education. So we do pay a lot of attention to things like student success, quality assurance, the management of both people and things. So financial, human resources, all those sorts of things. Issues of technology integration, succession planning, change management makes up a big part of our program. And a lot of this is brought together through a systems thinking and planning lens. So one of our key courses is all about systems thinking and seeing all of these kinds of leadership issues in their relationship to each other and how they come together to form the complex interrelationships that make up a modern post-secondary institution. Next one, Selena. Talking a little bit more about our emphasis on leadership in the MAHEAL programs. One thing that we emphasize a great deal, not just in our program, but across Royal Roads University, is the idea of teams, teamwork, collaboration, mimicking the reality of the collaboration that is required, just an essential part of the workplace. None of us have all the expertise needed to run a successful organization. And so it's really important to understand the strengths of others and to learn to work together to form effective teams. And our programs at Royal Roads really do reflect that reality. So we do have teamwork and team assignments as part of every course. We emphasize the idea of seeing everything as a system of interrelated parts and people. We're really focused on building enduring relationships across the cohorts so that you start to develop a support network of people across Canada and even internationally who are like-minded and involved in similar fields that you can rely on and be part of going forward. One thing that we look at in the MAHEAL programs, we actually use a tool called Insights for everyone who starts the program that gives people an understanding of their own leadership styles and tendencies and how they relate to others, and give the cohorts an opportunity to understand each other's strengths and areas for development, just like you would need to understand as a leader within any complex organization. Next slide. So the program at a glance, there are only a few options when moving through the MAHEAL programs. They all start out with an onboarding intake process that we call a link, and an introduction to academic integrity, just to make sure that we level set, start everyone off with the same understanding, get everyone oriented to the university and the services and supports that are offered at the institution. Then there is a set of 3 required courses that we move through in sequence. HEAL 501 and 510 are actually taken at the same time concurrently at the beginning of the program. And now going forward, those are offered as part of the in-person on-campus residency. They start online, but then we come together for 2 weeks on campus. And we're just going back to that this year. That starts again in just about 3 or 4 weeks. For the past couple of years, due to the pandemic, we've been completely online, but we're going back to having a 2-week intensive team building and learning experience in an in-person residency. So that's the only time during the program that you would see 2 courses concurrently. After that, our major course in systems thinking and strategic planning, HEAL 550, takes place. That takes in often students from a number of different programs, and so is often a little bit larger. You get a chance to meet other people from outside of the main cohort. Very popular and really effective course. From there, the group splits into 2 streams, and at that point you get to make a choice about whether you want to pursue the systems leadership stream or the international education stream. They cover similar kinds of content, but as the international education stream really focuses on the unique aspects of international education, and especially the business and administration of international education programs at post-secondaries. So if you are involved in or would like to become involved in international student recruitment or the management of programs that draw on an international student base and a lot of the unique administration that goes on there, that's the perfect stream. The systems leadership tends to attract more the group that are involved in the more domestic or aspects of an institution, or who want a more general background in higher education administration. And right now we have about 60% to 70% choose the systems leadership, and a somewhat smaller group, 30 to 40%, tend to take the international education route. At the completion of that set of courses, there's another decision to make. It's possible to go straight to a thesis program to complete the MA. We only have room and capacity for a certain number of thesis students each year, to have sufficient faculty with the right expertise to supervise those. So there is a competitive process that takes place to apply to complete the thesis program. The vast majority of our learners choose to go the research paper route to complete the program, and that involves completing 4 additional courses. The first 2, HEAL 560 and 570, are a bit like the other courses, a little more self-contained. The next 2, the final 2 courses, LRNT 506 and HEAL 610, are all about developing a research proposal for a systematic literature review, and then completing that systematic literature review on a topic of your choice to then complete the program. And if we can go to the next slide, please, Selena. So I talked a little bit about graduate certificates that we have. So there's a grad certificate in systems leadership in higher education, and that just is 3 of the existing MA courses. And so HEAL 550, 520, and 530 can be taken separately as a graduate certificate. And I'll mention here that credit for any of these courses can then be applied to the full MA program should an individual decide later that they want to complete the entire credential. And the next slide. Likewise, the other stream, graduate certificate in business development in international education, can be taken as a separate certificate. HEAL 525, 535, and 545. And some folks who are in a role that deals with international education at an institution right now find this a really effective way to get up to speed, especially if they've had a more general background in their institution and are now moving into an international role. This can be a great way through a fairly short 3-course program to really get up to speed and get a great grounding in that side of the higher ed world. And the next slide. The graduate certificate in strategic enrollment management is a little bit different. This will only be our 2nd year of offering this certificate. It only makes use of one existing course from the full program, and that's the Systems Thinking and Strategic Planning in Higher Education course. It then has 2 additional courses that were developed specifically for this program, HEAL 580 and 585. And these courses really are specific to strategic enrollment management, the planning of the optimum enrollment and kinds of courses, kinds of programs that an institution should focus on to best meet the needs of its stakeholders. And this has really become a major focus in the strategic planning of pretty much every post-secondary institution in Canada and the United States and likely worldwide at this point. But it is slightly different in that the courses don't entirely overlap with the rest of the program. And that's why we've had some of our alumni from the MA program now coming back to complete this as an additional certificate because they see its value to their career. And like the other certificates, you don't have to retake a course. So if you've already taken the MA program, you would already have credit for HEAL 550 and just be taking the 2 additional courses to complete this certificate. And I think that's it, Selena.
Amazing. Thanks, Russ. We went through a slew of programs in a very short few minutes. Before I move on to the application process, I see we just have a quick question around the difference between HEAL 535 and HEAL 530. So HEAL 535 is communication and organizational culture in a globalized world, putting HEAL 530 as leading educational change in higher education environments.
They cover similar content, but 535 has been designed specifically to address international issues.
Amazing. Thanks for adding that, Russ. We will now take just a few more moments to spin through the how to apply of it all. But that said, if you have any questions about anything we've explored together already, feel free to pop it right into the chat box. We're just a few slides away from a quick Q&A. So to kick us off, why don't we talk about standard admissions? So here at Royal Roads, we have 2 admission pathways, standard and flexible. So standard admissions would look for prospective students who have a 4-year or comparable undergraduate degree from a recognized post-secondary institution, as well as a minimum of 3 years of relevant paid work experience within recognized higher education institutions. So things like public or accredited colleges, universities, polytechnics, or institutions providing formal tertiary programs, as well as including some leadership experience. You see, we have an asterisk there around leadership, and that's because here at Royal Roads University, and particularly within the School of Education and Technology, we've developed what leadership experience could mean. So, at first glance, sometimes folks will self select out of a program like this after reading our requirements because they think, I'm not a director, I'm not a manager. Does that mean I don't have leadership experience? Of course you do. Most often than not, if you are thinking about a program like this and went so far as to participate in a webinar, you more often than not have the leadership experience that we're looking for. So you can always head to our website to learn more about what leadership experience could mean in relation to your professional, personal, and academic background. But it's important for us to highlight right off the top, it does not exclusively mean positional leadership. So flipping to the next slide here, you'll see flexible admissions. So flexible admissions is for those folks who may not have a traditional academic background, but have worked extensively within the field of higher education. So coming back to Royal Roads' mandate as a university for working professionals, flexible admissions allows us to create classrooms with such a beautiful mix of folks with academic backgrounds, folks with extensive professional portfolios, to have conversations that are rich and diverse in perspectives. So flexible admissions is for those prospective students who have normally a minimum of 7 years of work experience in higher education institutions, as well as a minimum of 3 years of leadership experience. So again, coming back to what could that leadership experience look like? So roles in which you're consulting, negotiating, or managing diverse interests in a complex environment, roles where you're leading others towards shared goals and outcomes, roles in which you influence, organize, or coordinate groups of people. These roles can be roles of positional leadership. They can even be volunteer in some cases. So formal organizational leadership roles where you're finding yourself supervising staff or completing performance-oriented work, and also instances where you've overcome challenging life experiences for yourself or others, or you've navigated complex environments and produced positive change beyond just yourself, positive change that has impacted communities around you as well. So again, leadership experience can be many, many things, but on our website, you take a look at that more clearly as well. So how do you apply? Well, as with most things these days, it kicks off with an online application. This online application currently includes a fee of $131.81, though I know it's going up a few dollars in the near future. And then we're going to look for some supporting documents. So things like official transcripts, a personal statement, structured resume, and 2 letters of reference. Our website, again, is a wonderful resource as you're putting together your supporting documents because it provides some tips around, what should I be including in my personal statement? So we have some guiding questions to help you understand what we're eager to know about you. What do you want me to include on my structured resume? We have some helpful hints around different categories you can include to make sure all of your experiences shine bright. And then some more practical information as well, such as, how long should these documents be? What makes transcripts official? And how do my referees get their letters to your offices? So all this can be found on our website or by connecting with one of our enrollment advisors. So on this slide, we see our slew of programs as well as their start dates. So for example, if you're interested in our master's program in the Higher Education Administration and Leadership or its associated graduate diploma, we will begin June 13th, 2022. If you're interested in our graduate certificate in business development and international education, we're going to begin in October 24th, 2022, putting your application deadline just around the corner for July 24th. Our graduate certificate in systems leadership and higher education, well, that's going to start August 15th, as well as our graduate certificate in strategic enrollment management, putting their application deadlines in June and May, respectively. So on this slide, it's really important for me to highlight that here at Rural Roads, we accept our applications on an ongoing basis. So that means we're not actually going to wait until an application deadline. So for example, we're not going to wait until July 24th to then assess all the different application packages that have come in for our business development and international education program. Instead, once your online application is in and your supporting documents have been received by our offices, we're able to adjudicate your file and let you know about your seat in our program. It's really important for some of our programs like these that intake once a year. So if there is a start year that you're interested in, we highly recommend getting in that online application because it signals to us you're interested in a seat in the program. And then we can always support you in getting the supporting documents submitted. Recognizing we're at 12:30, I'm going to spin through these next few slides because as mentioned, we'll be sharing a recording and that recording is going to include all this information as well. So we got some great questions around financial aid and what our team can support you with. And on the slide, you can see just a few of their areas of expertise, but most importantly, their website and their direct phone lines to get you connected and learn more about this team and how their expertise can help you. This might be the most important slide so far, and it's the slide that connects you with our enrollment advising team. So if you're joining us as a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, landed immigrant, or refugee, you're going to connect with our team at learn.more@ruralroads.ca to learn more about this program or any others on our campus. And if you're joining us as an international citizen or temporary resident, you're going to connect with learn.more.international@ruralroads.ca to get connected with specialists who will know exactly what we need to share about the region you're coming from. And that was a very, very quick spin on applying to this program. We are come to an end on our formal presentation today. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides here and get into our questions. So we have a great question here on the next start date for MAHEAL. Yes, we have just begun. So the date noted on the slide is dated. Absolutely. And Russ, do you have that on the tip of your tongue? Or I can always head to our website and flash that up.
Well, I'm not sure what the next application date is, but we just started the current year of MAHEAL last week. So the next start date for MAHEAL will be a year from last week.
That is so exciting to have a group starting on our campus. So that actually brings us to the end of our question as well. So Russ, was there anything else you wanted to share before we close out today?
No, just thanks to everyone for attending. This is a wonderful program, and I encourage you to look at it further.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Russ. And I echo Russ in saying thank you so much for joining us here today. And please be sure to connect with our team at learn.more@ruralroads.ca to learn more about this program and any others on our campus. Have a great day, everyone.